Is AI making you feel spacey? Look, it's a great tool. It's been 2 years since I've jumped into this conversation in a public way. I really felt it was time to put forward a couple of ideas. We are seeing an explosion of this technology, and it is a great tool and it has so much to offer. And yet I'm not sure if we know what its real limitations are. Now, many people will talk about different aspects that maybe have become overhyped. We certainly have commentaries on people developing relationships with AI that really you're not having a relationship with anything sentient at all, or even intelligent for that matter. You're really having a relationship with a powerful tool, but nothing more than a parlor trick in terms of how it's manipulating and parsing information. So let's talk about that a little bit. I came up with a very simple uh, moniker for really what I feel AI has to offer and also what its limitations are. And that's this SPACI. So what's the S for? S is for synthesizing. So AI does an amazing job of taking information and synthesizing, pulling together multiple sources, kind of parsing those multiple sources, finding what's common between them, looking for agreement, and then giving us a summary of lots of information. And many of us are becoming uh, perhaps overly dependent in some ways upon our top search result, which now inevitably is some kind of AI synthesis of the existing information. We'll come back to this because this ability to synthesize information, if we limit what information it's going to synthesize and we've established the validity of that information, can be very powerful. And we'll look at maybe an academic example to really bring home that point in just a moment. So, the second part of our spacey adventure here with AI is processing or pattern finding. Really, what AI is able to do is what we would spend hours doing in working with structured data, just trying to write structured query language or using any number of analytical tools that required us to know some scripting or something to basically look for patterns in information. And this was very structured information. Typically we were going into one or more databases. We didn't have this whole field of information from which we could look for patterns in. So AI has a tremendous amount to offer in terms of pattern recognition. And as a storyteller, I really love patterns. Patterns to me are about how we connect and make creative speculations. We come up with story theories, if you will, as we probe things around us. And so again, if I have a set of data, structured and unstructured, that I've pulled into one place, and now through that I'm pulling and looking for patterns that I otherwise might not find, that is a really powerful and effective use of the AI technology. Now, I think the greatest thing that AI probably potentially as it matures and develops is automation, and that's the A. So S again is for synthesizing, P is for pattern finding, and A is for automating. So if I have certain tasks that are repetitive, well defined, and known, why not, without having to rely on system integrators and a lot of complex computer programming, why not piece together um, what I do and automate it in some way to make myself more effective in what I'm doing. So A is automating. You could think of even the idea of what were alerts. We all have alerts set maybe for things that we want to stay on top of. So if you're an academic, for example, you might want to know when a new article is published on systems engineering or on data analytics, nuclear fusion, whatever your area of research might be. Well, imagine if you can now do some other things with that automating, And this, of course, also applies in a business context. I'm using an academic one at the moment, but I might want to actually pull forward the biographies and CVs, the other articles by the journal authors. I might want to actually have an analysis of their previous studies or peer reviews of earlier studies. So I start automating maybe what would have been manual tasks as I went through my research process to actually speed that process up and create some efficiencies. So the A of automation and artificial intelligence, what it can do for us, is a huge benefit. But we have to be really purposeful, and we have to actually know our own processes, and now build that into how we put together the tasks that we're having AI perform for us.